The Nintendo Switch 2 gets even crazier after the release of Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've been playing this game like crazy. I had a huge launch stream for the game. We had a ton of codes to give away, and they did a phenomenal job with it, but it doesn't slow down at this point. Now that Donkey Kong Bonanza is out, Nintendo's got their two big tentpole games out for the first month or so with Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, and now this leaves everything open for Nintendo to kind of discuss a lot of the games here, and things are going to ramp up even more because it seems like Nintendo just has games on games on games. As I go through the list and kind of look at the insanity that they're going to have to detail and lay out in this next big rumored Nintendo Direct that is set for July. So let's talk a little bit about what we do know, of course, that is coming when it comes to release dates. Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV, we got that dated. Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Starcross World, we've got that dated as well. And Pokemon Legends ZA. Those are all still pretty good games. Obviously, extra content added in, Nintendo Switch 2 editions with Kirby and Super Mario Party, but Pokemon Legends ZA also Switch 2 edition, but a brand new title that's going to be dual launched with the Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2. Looking forward to that a lot. So that's still some pretty good content, but Nintendo still has 4 big more games that they need to date and talk about more because we don't know as much information about these. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, that's going to be another massive game that could potentially be a Game of the Year contender. If you look at the previous big Metroid games, Metroid Prime 1 through 3 overall, none of those games have under a 90 on the Metacritic overall. So Metroid Prime 4 could be another big 90 plus rated game for Nintendo this year. So things could ramp up. We don't know when the date is going to be, but people have guessed all over the place from August, September, October, November. I mean, who knows when it's going to drop, but my guess is that we're going to get Metroid Prime 2 and 3 before Metroid Prime 4. So we'll see exactly when Nintendo decides to slot that game in. Kirby Air Riders, that's another massive game that I think that Masahiro Sakurai is going to really surprise and delight people. He's talking about pouring his heart into this game. Obviously, it's pretty emotional when it comes to the 10-year anniversary of Mr. Iwata passing away. In addition to Masahiro Sakurai just really wanting to get this type of game working on a Kirby title once again in his career. So it's one of those things to where, yes, he's the creator. He has a big tie to it. This is going to be a game that I think is going to be a labor of love for him, just like all of his titles are. But I expect Kirby Air Riders to be way better than even what people are expecting at this point. We still need to know what's going on with Splatoon Raiders. That is a brand new announcement that kind of came out of nowhere on Nintendo today. That game is probably going to be dropping sometime this year. I don't think Nintendo would have announced it if they weren't going to release it sometime this year, or at least get a release date, talk about it like at a Nintendo Direct or something. But I expect it, since it is a spin-off and they kind of want to keep the seat hot when it comes to the next big announcement for Splatoon, because you know Nintendo is hard at work on Splatoon 4. You know that they're going to have something ready to go, probably with an announcement next year for Splatoon 4, because Splatoon 3, that came out in 2022, so we're already at the 3+ year anniversary going on that game, so next year will be 4 years. So I definitely think that something's happening in the Splatoon realm. But Splatoon Raiders as a spin-off, I think that's going to be pretty good. So they've got the engine up and going and running fantastic on the Nintendo Switch 2 at 4K 60 with Splatoon 3. So I fully expect a really nice blowout of information and different things in terms of a release date and trailer and other information when it comes to Splatoon Raiders. Last up, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. This game is going to be nice because we're going to get it in 60 FPS based off of what they've showed so far. And essentially, this is very much like some of the games that Nintendo's had before, where it started out on Switch 1, but then they said, wait a minute, hold up. Like, we're running into the same issues that we had with Switch 1 when it comes to like Age of Calamity. And they said, let's just go ahead and move that over to the Nintendo Switch 2. And obviously, that is a good decision. If you've played Age of Calamity, clearly that is a great decision to move it over, because now you can have more enemies, you can have better fluidity, you can have faster loading times. Everything's going to be so much better than what it was, because Age of Calamity was good, but had frame rate issues overall. And on Switch 2, it runs locked at 30, and that's with no patch at all. So now we know with the Nintendo Switch 2, this game, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, I think it's going to be really good. I hope that they actually take some of the cues from Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition and the type of content and different type of challenge maps and all the stuff that they put into that. I hope they kind of infuse that with a lot of the combos and different things that they did in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, so we can kind of get like the best of both of these type of games. So that was set for winter, so that could still dip into next year, but I do think that we're going to get a release date for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So things are just going to get even crazier when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 and bigger overall, because Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's just the second game in their big release lineup of titles for 2025. So look forward to a Nintendo Direct, because we got to get some release dates for these games. We are running out of months in the year. We're already in the second half and heading towards the fall season at this point in summer. So what do you guys think about this overall? Let me know in the comment section below. But before we get into the next topic, please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're someone new, especially if you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 and RPG content. Also hit that like button and click that notification bell to get my vids as soon as they drop. Now let's go ahead and jump into this next topic here. I'm going to discuss kind of what's going on with the Nintendo Switch 2 in Japan. Not going to spend too much time on it because Nintendo just dominates the Famitsu, but I want to make sure that people are up to date on what's happening there, because there's going to be a lot of Japanese developer, Japanese publisher game decisions based on what's happening in Japan. So it's good to kind of know what is going on there when it comes to the sales of the system, because the Switch 2 is still just dominating overall. Nintendo's definitely stockpiling the Switch 2 for the release of Donkey Kong Bonanza. We do have the sales for the sales period of July 7th, 2025 through July 13th, 2025. So this is the week right before Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming out overall. So stockpiling just a little bit, 71,000 units being sold with the Nintendo Switch 2, still the top system by far. That was underneath the 100,000 plus that they've been doing since the Switch 2 launch in Japan. But even the Nintendo Switch 1 is still selling 13,000 plus units more than any other platform easily when it comes down to it. So between the Switch 1 and Switch 2, just complete domination there. Mario Kart World continues to be the top game sold with 65,000 units plus, and this is all physical, no digital sales. But I will say that that is probably going to change next week, because Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming out, and I'm pretty sure that game is going to have a huge opening. So Mario Kart World will be dethroned next week. Overall, you pretty much got all Nintendo Switch 1 or Switch 2 games in the top 10, with one PlayStation 5 game with Death Stranding on a beach with another 4,000 units. But yeah, expect Donkey Kong Bonanza to really have a big launch in Japan, considering we're seeing it at the top of pretty much all the Amazon and physical sales charts that we're able to actually see. So very good overall. Can't wait to see how Donkey Kong Bonanza shakes out on the Nintendo Switch 2 in Japan for the opening week sales physical. Next up, let's talk about Trails in the Sky First Chapter. I'm very excited for this game. We've got a brand new Agate Crossner trailer, and this guy is looking pretty awesome overall. So Falcom has released the 6th character trailer for Trails in the Sky First Chapter, introducing Agate Crossner, who has an awesome name. He is a young bracer with the strength to wield a massive sword, earning him the nickname Heavy Blade. Blunt and ill-mannered, he tends to treat the inexperienced Estelle and Joshua harshly. However, his skill as a bracer is undeniable and is deeply trusted by those around him. He seems to be investigating a particular case, gathering information. Trails in the Sky First Chapter is due out for the PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 1, and PC via Steam on September 19th worldwide. We need to talk at this point. We need to make sure that we have some type of unlocked performance mode or Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade or version coming at some point, because this would be the perfect game for the Nintendo Switch 2 overall. The PS5 version of the game, it's going to look and run beautiful, but the Switch 1 version of the game, it's probably going to look really good because they've been showing a lot of Switch 1 footage, but it's probably going to run at 30 FPS. So it would be great if there was a Switch 2 version of the game, or if you have a performance mode that unlocks the frame rate. So if we play that same game on the Nintendo Switch 2, it'll be able to play at 60 FPS. So some developers did that on Switch 1 where there was unlocked modes, so therefore on Switch 2 you can play it at 60 FPS, but if there's a hard cap on that frame rate, then we will not be able to play it at anything above that 30 FPS. There was one game, Atelier Yumiya, that had a performance mode that nobody knew what it did, but that ultimately seemed to be like a forward thinking mode because you can now play that at 60 FPS on the Switch 2, even though at the time we were thinking, why does it have a performance mode? It looks exactly the same. Well, that's what it was for. So I'm hoping the same thing happens here with Trails in the Sky first chapter, or they do announce a Nintendo Switch 2 version very soon here, but I'm not sure exactly when. Maybe at this next Nintendo Direct, they actually announce a Switch 2 version of Trails in the Sky first chapter. I think that would make a big impact. This game was originally announced just randomly for a brief moment in a Japanese segment of a sizzle reel for Nintendo Direct a while back. So maybe they actually say, okay, it's also coming to Switch 2. That is a possibility with this upcoming Nintendo Direct. So we'll see about that. But what do you guys think about this new trailer and Trails in the Sky first chapter? This is the place to start. If you're trying to get into the Legend of Heroes, this is the first place to start overall. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. But now we're going to move on to another topic here, and the Nintendo Switch Online playtest program. It is back, and will it be better than ever? Well, maybe, maybe not. So Nintendo Switch Online new feature, closed playtest returns July 28th to August 10th. What could they be adding in here? So this will be the second playtest for a new feature coming to Nintendo Switch Online service July 28th at 6 p.m. PT, 9 p.m. Eastern Time to August 10th at 5:59 p.m. PT, 8:59 p.m. ET. The company has announced. Now the test is for the same feature first tested in October 2024, and users who participated in the previous playtest can also participate in this playtest. So if you go to the application website, all the information is there. There's more stuff that you got to talk about. You got to be a Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack member and at least 18 years old. Now, I did participate in the first playtest, and I did it for a bit. And then I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm not even sure if I want to do this. So yeah, whatever it's going to be, I'm guessing that this playtest isn't actually like a real game that's going to formulate. It's essentially just testing out the new MPLN servers with Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2. That was one of the issues that Nintendo's had with online play and getting certain games, rollback netcode, stuff just be implemented, that there was issues in terms of the latency between different people playing and everything. And when they moved over to the new MPLN servers, there's a lot of testing that needs to happen and stuff that's going on when it comes to adding features over the course of time. The first game to even use these new servers for Nintendo Switch Online was Monster Hunter Rise back in 2021, and a lot of Nintendo's first-party games didn't even use the new MPLN. It's going to be slowly integrated into the newer games, especially Switch 2 titles that are coming out for online play, and of course Switch 1 games that we're still going to be getting and playing too. So that's what's happening here with this, guys. I think it's really just to make sure that everything's running smoothly and they can actually implement some of these new features that they could be adding into the Nintendo Switch Online and the service and everything. So that's essentially what this is from what I understand. But what do you guys think? Are you guys going to be participating in this playtest program for the second round? Let me know in the comment section below. But now we're going to move on to a demo for everyone, Drag Cross Drive. I know this game doesn't have a lot of hype from the Nintendo fans out there based off of just how you play the game and the look overall of it, but there is going to be a free online demo that anybody can jump into and try it out for yourself. And I think I'm definitely going to be checking this game out. So Drag Cross Drive, upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive that uniquely utilizes the Switch 2 Joy-Con mouse controls. My Nintendo News writes, for a 3-on-3 basketball game. Since the game launches on August 14th, Nintendo has announced a Drag Cross Drive Global Jam demo event for Nintendo Switch Online members. There are 3 time windows for anyone who downloads the upcoming Drag Cross Drive demo version. You have August 9th at 3 a.m. PT through 7 a.m. PT. You have August 9th again at 5 p.m. PT to 9 p.m. PT. And then you have August 10th at 9 a.m. PT to 1 p.m. PT. So this is going to be a weekend starting on Friday in a few weeks from now. So yeah, just check it out yourself. If it sucks or if you think that it's not good, then obviously don't have to pick up the game. This is going to be a $20 game. It's dropping on August 14th. So it's not some type of massive, huge release for Nintendo. It's just kind of probably a thing that they just decided to create. They were probably messing around with the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con mouse controls and thought, hey, maybe we'll make some type of little, real kind of quick type of game for people to be able to play. And this is what they thought of. there are people who have played the game and said that it's actually pretty fun, like once you kind of start going and everything. So maybe it's gonna be one of those games to where it's probably smaller and has like more of a cult following of people who really enjoy the game, just because it's kind of quirky and weird and everything like that. So yeah, Drag Cross Drive, it's not a game that you would expect Nintendo to make or even really have at all. But like I said, it's not like it's a super huge game or anything. It's only $20. It's not a $60 or $70 or $80 game or anything like that. There's no physical version of the game either. So it does seem more like a pick up and play, get a couple rounds in and kind of just like forget it, or just play it for a bit, see what you think, and kind of try something out. And if you like it, pick it up. If you don't, hey, it is what it is. You can move on to all the other games that I talked about here when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2, of course. So what do you guys think overall when it comes to everything that we talked about here? A lot of big Nintendo Switch 2 news. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.